shares and stock. Speaking of which, MTN Uganda last week had publicly been listed by the Uganda Stock Exchange as among those particular companies that will actually give room for Ugandans or for the public or their subscribers to actually apply for a share, or you can become a shareholder in MTN Uganda. Now, meanwhile, MTN Uganda actually launched the initial public offer on Monday. That was Monday 11th, 2021. We've always been telling you that MTN Uganda will initially open up the shares on the 11th of October, and they did open up. But the bigger question was, at how much would one access a share? And surprisingly, MTN Uganda opened its shares with as low as 200 Ugandan shillings. So any Ugandan out there or any subscriber to MTN Uganda, one of the, if I'm honestly saying, the multi-giant in the telecommunications sector in Uganda, which has been there for 23 years, actually opened up a room for any person willing to access a share at 200 Ugandan shillings per person, which represents 500 shares, which total up to 100,000 Ugandan shillings. If I told you want to become a shareholder, one share is 200 Ugandan shillings. But if I told you want to become a shareholder or a part of the company, you should buy shares worth 100,000. And with this, we head into our topical discussion. And I'm here with the main man, Andrew Barije. Hey, how are you doing, Andrew?
I'm doing good. I'm doing fine. I think it's okay.
And I think you should pick up from there and take us through what impact is this to Uganda's economy and that of the stock exchange as well.
Yeah, this is really amazing for the Ugandan economy. I must say, especially the capital markets. When it comes to capital markets, for quite a number of years, capital markets have been a bit underdeveloped in this country. The reason is it's because of investors lacking information where to invest, whereby like there is this they call the prospectus, which the investors used to make informed decisions before they invest into any company. And when we look at the time the Uganda Securities Exchange was put in place, that was 1997. We had quite a few companies there because privatization was not really so common. We saw it coming in the late 1990s. Uganda was predominantly, most of the companies were government-owned entities. Actually, we saw it with Uganda Airlines. Even was involved where they wanted to liquidate the company. That was though the people who could buy the company weren't there. They wanted to liquidate the company. Airlines. That was about 2000. When we look at the population growth at that time was a little bit down. But the fact that people were not really aware it was a new concept to the nation. Shares. Something which affected the use, and when it affected the use, also it denied the economy a certain, it denied the economy funds that could actually elevate the economy to another level. Looking at the statistics today, currently, we see the population growth in Uganda has increased, and even the companies being listed on the Uganda Securities Exchange have also increased on the rise. But it's still quite unfortunate that some of these things, they have not really done enough sensitization concerning capital markets. And when we see companies like MTN coming up, this is really a good strategy, making their shares as low as 200 shillings per share. It's one of the ways of trying to tell the public that these things are not really complicated like how you think. Anyone can actually own a share at 200 shillings, and you have to buy 500 shares for you to become a shareholder.
You see, the fear is mainly, I personally would agree with most of the people, is the only challenge they have is, I have bought this share. How am I going to earn out of it? Because mainly, if you look at Ugandans, when you tell them about investing, buying a share is more like investing.
Exactly.
Now, look in a situation where someone comes and says, now I'm going to buy a share at 200 Ugandan shillings or 100,000, and I become a shareholder in MTN.
Exactly.
How do I benefit from the incident? because those are some of the questions people are still asking. You know, when you were actually here, I think when you're trying to analyze the same situation yesterday during the show, I think mainly, even when I was on ground, I realized that most of the media personalities that were there also are posing the same question, wondering, MTN Uganda has actually given the shares as low as 200 Ugandan shillings, which is mainly a good amount. 200, that is too low. But of what impact is this? Let's say a Ugandan who wants to invest and buy the shares, how are they going to earn out of it? If you can take us through the share, what importance is someone purchasing a share?
Yeah, the importance, one of the importances why people should buy shares, I could say a passive income. Because currently, the way the economy is, you need to have at least 7 sources of income. So that's a passive income you can earn when you perhaps at your workplace. Like you could be working somewhere and you bought stock somewhere and you expect a dividend at some time. Now the challenge that comes here is there is a question that people could be asking themselves. I believe one of the questions that were being passed during the press conference was, now supposing somebody buys those shares like 100,000, I bought 500 shares, each at 200. How much am I going to expect
money out of it? So, and at the end of the day, it is not the same incident that happens.
Exactly.
Mainly with the situation in Uganda, that someone comes out and says, Sonko, I'm going to pay, let's say Sonko, I'm going to buy a share in your company. But remember, when you're actually buying a share in a company, because this is how it actually works in most cases, you becoming a shareholder is you're investing in the company. That means you're increasing on the investments of the company. So the company has got more sources of income now, with the fact that it has opened some of the shares for the Ugandans, which is quite a number of shares. And at the end of the day, the company, most people are scared because the company is going to benefit at their expense. And they're not going to actually earn more in that situation whereby you're going to focus more clearly. Now, if I'm actually to take you through the same situation here in our topic discussion, MTN will sell 4.5 billion of shares, and this is now up for sale to the general public as low as 200 shillings per share. This is 4.5 billion of shares. So you could see these are the shares that MTN is selling out, and each share is actually going out to as low as 200 Ugandan shillings. And if someone out there is trying to understand what we're discussing here, is MTN okugula emigabo kitegeeza ki eri gwe muna Uganda. MTN eguze emigabo, eguddewo room y'emigabo. MTN nga company kino kibadde tekibanga MTN yali tekikolanga. Kati eguddewo ebitundu 2 ku migabo gyabyo, ku migabo gyabwe egiri worth obuwumbi 4 n'ekitundu obwa Uganda. Nti gwe muna Uganda oba subscriber wa MTN osobola okugula share oba omugabo mu MTN milioni, osobola okugula, I almost said million, osobola okugula share ku nusu 2 eza Uganda. So kiba kitegeeza ku nusu 2 oba oguze share oba otandise okugula ekifo mu MTN. But then nga tonnaba kufuuka nyini MTN, olina oweza emitwalo 10 naye bakubalenga nyini MTN. I think that the most interesting part here, or the most amazing part about it, is you're now an owner.
You're now an owner, exactly.
With 100,000. That is you buying a very big company like that, which is everywhere you go. With 100,000 is quite a good amount.
I believe the big question people are asking themselves is, how much do I earn?
Hey.
People are still saying, there is this mentality that in Uganda, which we have, that if I invest 100,000, I want to get 500,000 back.
Yeah, that is the thing.
That's the thing.
Just like betting, when you put you put a stake of 1,000, you expect 100,000.
Perfect. But we forget one thing, that these dividends, actually, we get them back dependent on the market forces of demand. It will depend on how MTN is going to. That's why I believe that information wasn't disclosed, because I know many people wanted to know if I buy shares as low, because 100,000 is something really friendly. I can also pick it and go buy shares. But the question is, how much money am I going to earn at the end of the year, or end of the month? And this will depend on how MTN will perform. Now, that's the challenging side of the story.
Yeah.
About that.
How MTN is going to perform?
How MTN is going to perform in the next, during, like, let me say, the window started yesterday. People to buy shares. So, depending on when they decide to pay dividends, when they are paying dividends, after that, let me say they can say next year around this time, is when they shall be paying the dividends, because it's sometimes it's a year, depending on the contract.
Yeah, that is the same thing. It was a year. They will start out after a year.
A year.
Yes.
Exactly. So, as they are paying people dividends, it's going to be proportional. Like, let me say 100,000. If you bought shares of 100,000, you're going to be paid according to that range, but basing on how MTN has been performing during that period of time. Somebody who bought 1,000 shares will be paid money still in that line, but still basing on how MTN has been performing during that period of time.
So you see, that is why, you see, Andrew, that is why me, I have challenges with the shares and things. Sometimes why people would say, I'm buying the share. You're only good to go when the company is performing well.
Exactly.
But when the company is not performing,
it's challenging.
It's challenging.
Yeah.
And I don't know, how would Ugandans even feel about it? And more so, but I think MTN will perform. MTN has been performing, fairly.
We expect the best from this. From actually, people are going to benefit from these shares.
Because even if you look at some other publicly listed companies like Umeme, Uganda, Clay, Stanbic Bank, most of them have actually been performing. Yeah. Even the latest reports coming in from Uganda Clays, it performed fairly better than any other company.
Exactly. Yeah. So despite the challenges that the stock markets experience, MTN, I believe, has a certain hand, because it being a multi-regional company, it is very competitive compared to any other multi-regional, despite the fact that it's in the telecommunications sector. And I believe it's going to go into another level. And the fact that it's on the move to promoting, there is a run currently globally, digitalizing everything. And I think it's been the first company to introduce people buying shares online.
Just because it is actually in a journey of seeing that Uganda's digital space is actually being utilized. By 2025, clearly, MTN thinks that 90% of the population in Uganda would have at least got access to the internet countrywide. That is what they want, because at least if you're to follow up on the situation of MTN having a number of subscribers, and greatly, if you look at some of the reports in regards to the subscribers that are still actually, if you are to look at the subscribers that MTN Uganda has, they're quite a number, by the way. Yes, they actually have, if you look at MTN Uganda, they actually have a number of subscribers in the country.
Yeah, this is simply because of their marketing approach towards the population of Uganda. And the fact that they have also been into the run of the social corporate responsibility. We've seen MTN do quite a lot of things, sponsoring events here in Uganda, and so many other things, and giving people friendly data packages, friendly call packages, and with that, it made Uganda like its home.
Okay.
And Uganda has always created a favorable environment.
They're actually having they're running an initiative called Uganda is Home, because Uganda is home. Some of the adverts that we also have here. So because they understand that Uganda is home. And if you look at the situation, and MTN in the first half of 2021, MTN Uganda had 14.9 million subscribers. So MTN Uganda reached 14.9 million subscribers with 8.6 million mobile money users, and 4.7 million active data users. So you would see the impact of that.
Exactly. Yeah. And with that, it makes us believe that Uganda, the fact that MTN has opened up the public to buy shares, the government of Uganda is going to do whatever it takes to create a favorable environment for MTN to perform better, because this is for the good of the economy. When MTN performs better, the shareholders will get good dividends. So this is hope for you all who are planning to buy and those who have already bought. Expect something, because MTN has been performing, and more suitable conditions are going to be created by the government to ensure that MTN operates effectively to earn more profits, to benefit you, the shareholders, plus the economy at large.
Yeah, sure thing. But the share thing here is you can get a share at 200.
Yeah.
And the only challenge I still have with the situation was, and one of the questions I actually even had was the challenge. Normally, because you can access a share using your mobile phone, but remember, most people, and I for one, I have a challenge with my national ID and situation, and mainly my lines are in someone's account.
Okay.
And then some of the questions that I actually posed out to the CEO, but the CEO was actually very quick to answer, saying that your share will only be counted valid if it is in your name.
Okay.
And so if the SIM card is in your name, so you should use a SIM card that has your name, because your SIM card, your name, you're supposed to go out there, open up in your account, you're like supposed to go and open up
register
in your national ID, and which is also another issue. That means for anyone out there who is willing to subscribe to buy, you need to have your names, your line registered in your names.
And actually that brings us back to, you remember sometime back when they say the money, which is the Bank of Uganda, came and declared to put money which has spent months without working, without on account.
They actually put a number of that.
Exactly.
Worth 17 billion Ugandan shillings.
You see, all can imagine. And all that money, if your money was put off the line and your line was not registered in your names, definitely the person whose names come on the line is not liable to go and claim.
To claim that money.
So it's the same case here. So Ugandans are at the same time go get national IDs, because where it's heading right now, it's really necessity to have your names registered. Otherwise, it might limit you to own shares in MTN.
But the national ID situation also comes with a lot. It is something that is quite difficult to get a national ID in Uganda, and that particular situation. Let's first head into a break. We'll continue later on with the same situation of the shares in MTN as well. Do you have some entertainment news for us as well?
Yeah,
if you can actually keep up to speed.
We can, after the break, we shall talk about something.
All right, and Andrew Baridio will actually be taking you through some of what is trending in the business of the entertainment world. That and more will come after the break. This is Smart Means Business.